we've been covering a lot on the channel, at least when I'm recording. We've been covering a lot of like pop culture, modern audience, and shenanigans and baloney. But I want to cover more than just that. I've been hearing a lot of stuff in my feed lately, at least in my social media feeds and my YouTube feed. Again, it's back. This whole idea that young people don't want to work, young people don't have work ethic, they don't want jobs, they're lazy. I don't think that's the truth. I saw this 10 years ago. I'm on the young side of the millennials. So I'm like on the I'm a young millennial, or so right right before the Gen Z phenomenon. So I remember this 10 years ago being all over the news and the studies that millennials don't want to work. We can't get millennials to go out and get jobs or start up businesses. And it's the same arguments now. It's the same articles now, and it's just bizarre to me because I think every previous generation has said something similar. I remember reading a book back in high school about when calculators were invented, and people were like, "Oh, kids are so lazy; they don't know how to use slide rules." And when the slate was invented, like in back when you had one room schoolhouses in the Wild West, right? When they were using slates to read and write on little tablets, with chalk. There were adults back then. I read that adults back then were saying that kids aren't going to learn how to read because they don't have the books. They have slates instead. It never changes. Like there's nothing new under the sun. Like this whole idea that kids aren't doing things right. You have to do it the other way. Kids aren't working. You have to get them to work jobs like we did. I don't think that's true at all. I think that we should leave the world in a better place than it was previously so that younger generations can progress it more, innovate. We went to the moon in like half a century from flying. So like if generations didn't progress like that and innovate, that stuff wouldn't happen. If we did stuff like the previous generations, we wouldn't have done something like that. We wouldn't have these huge feats of engineering and things in Western society. But I've been seeing this stuff, and anecdotally, I can absolutely see this happening. I just can. So let me know now down in the comments if you've experienced something like this. I've been in the workforce now I've been, since I graduated college over 10 years ago. So, man, that makes me feel old. But I graduated college 10 years ago. And I didn't go to some prestigious university or anything. I went to a trade school. I went to get skills, get my degree so that I could get a job and I could go to work and I could make money. Become a productive member of society. So I went to a trade school. So I work in a rather blue collar field. I'm a civil engineer. We do construction. Foundation construction is what we kind of really specialize in, but we do construction. I've been in this field for 10 years now, and I see the same thing that the articles are talking about. The older people at my company and the companies that I have previously worked for, they all say the same thing, that we can't find people to work. We can't get the young people to work, and we can't find new employees. It's always the same complaints, which to me is kind of crazy. Like, because in my experience, and I'm out in the world talking to people about this subject, I see people that tell me that, I want to work. I want a job. I want to make a better life for myself. I want to make money. So I don't see, like, there's a mismatch here between the older people that I work with and these younger people that I talk to. And this is just anecdotal. I know there's probably some data somewhere on stuff like this, but at least anecdotally from my experience, everywhere I've lived so far, it's the same experience. And it's always like the management and the corporate executives, it's the same complaint. Can't find anybody to work. We can't find any young people to work to replace us. It's just, there's a mismatch. And I don't really know how to fix it. I literally just think it's people of different generations They just live in different realities almost. Like, you know what I mean. We live in completely different worlds. The world as we know it right now in 2026 is so vastly different even from when I moved to the Midwest. Like when I moved back to the Midwest in 2019, it's vastly different from that. I remember the pre-COVID world. Everything was so cheap, comparatively speaking. Everything was expensive back then too, but compared to right now, it was dirt cheap. Like just go to the grocery store. I remember when I moved here 7 years ago, going to the grocery store, going to my local Meijer. I would walk out of Meijer with so much in that cart for $50, and it would feed me for the week. I had snacks, I had ice cream, I had all the nutritional stuff. I was able to afford the luxury items. Like that was crazy to me, like being able to afford all that stuff and like walk out of a grocery store with a full cart for $50. And now 2026, it's May 2026, and I will spend $80 on just what I need for the week. No snack food, no junk food. Just breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's all I've been making. But I've just been in money saving mode also. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me being on money saving mode. But so I'm just observing the world around me through my two eyeballs here. Okay. So but I can't be the only one, because I hear about this stuff all the time, and I see the articles online, and I see the posts about it everywhere. So like, yeah, leave in the comments for sure, like your work experience and with like the corporate world and the differences here. Well, the whole Gen Z thing, I have one thing pulled up here. This 8 ways to motivate Gen Z workers. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I just wanted to. Kids aren't engaged at work. Okay. I just wanted to look at like, okay, the top 3 priorities for young people at work. Like this is what kind of drew me in here. Gen Z's top 3 priorities at work are a positive work culture, mental health and well-being benefits. That's a surprising amount when surveyed. That's almost half really all around. And then a sense of purpose and meaning. And this, I think this one being, that only being 40%, I think this one's bigger than 40%. I do. I think that's a lot bigger, because I can totally see this I identify with this one. I can personally see this one, and when I talk to people, I feel like this too. Nobody wants to sit under the fluorescent light bulbs and press the number keys for 9 hours a day and then never see the results of that. Like it feels like you have no meaning or purpose, and all the lower end jobs, like the blue collar jobs, like the stuff that I do, is worth less money. Like you get paid more for being the Excel spreadsheet guy. But so you get what I mean. But I think this is a lot bigger than this. I think more people than 40% want a sense of meaning and purpose in their work. And people want to be able to take pride in their work. And I think my theory is that just young people see the world around them. They see it like just like us. Like we see everything getting expensive, and we see how unaffordable everything is. But they see this and just think, wow, that's like everything is crazy expensive. And on top of everything being crazy expensive, they feel like they have no purpose and meaning, because all the jobs that you can do to get to the point where you can afford things, don't have any meaning or purpose. Just to start a business, for example, like if you were an entrepreneur in the United States, the amount of red tape that you have to go through is insane. This is why you need degrees to open a business. Like maybe you don't need a degree to open a business. I get that you might not. Like don't come at me in the comments. Like there's probably people smart enough out there to do it. I know there are for sure. But like broadly speaking, the average person is probably going to need a degree. They're already going to have experience and skills built up already over time. And by that point, by the later points in your life when you actually get those skills and whatnot, like you're kind of running out of time to do that sort of thing because you're getting older. And your priorities, like people's priorities change. It's like this is, I think, yeah. So I just think this is bigger. I think there's just a massive disconnect. Every generation really just kind of gets set in a way. They get set in their ways, and it's really just hard for them to let that go. I get it. There's not a whole lot, like, you know, we all want to retain our values and whatnot. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but we need to be able to adapt more and communicate better. And I try to do this with my employees at my job. Whenever I do have to hire somebody to work under me, which is rare, but like I do, I try to make sure that that employee, no matter how difficult they find the work, I try really hard to have patience with that employee, because I'm now experiencing that, like, people 10 and 12 years younger than me are coming into the workforce, and I'm trying to be really patient, trying to figure out how they communicate, and I'm trying to figure out what ideas they have and get them through the job, get them the experience that they need to move on to the next thing or to move up. But yeah, no, I think there's just a massive disconnect. So let me know what you think. Let me know about your work experience, if you've experienced something similar, this disconnect between the older corporate guys and the younger working guys. So yeah, get out of here and be good.